At this point in Patrick Surtain's career, I think it's pretty certain and common knowledge that he is the best cornerback in the NFL, especially with the year he had last year. He wins Defensive Player of the Year. He gets nominated to another Pro Bowl. He's just an all-pro corner. But within that broad term of CB1, all-pro corner, and Defensive Player of the Year, what exactly is it that makes him the type of player he is and what is put on his resume? And I mean, not what a better example than going up against Devontae Adams. Devontae Adams has some of the best releases and routes in the NFL. Here we are to the top of the screen. What I love about Pat Surtain is just his patience. So we're gonna watch it full first, and then we'll break it down. Great pass breakup. But you saw there, right? He was in phase the entire way. So let's start first with the footwork. The footwork here is phenomenal. And then secondly, or kind of like a 1A within the footwork, is he always keeps himself square, meaning that he never tilts his hips or his body one way or opens the gate. So let's watch it here. All right, so here he is. So Devontae Adams is running a go route, right? That's what we watched. And he's going to go with the slow release because it's play action. So he's going to go with a slow release, kind of get in, I guess, get in phase or try to block Pat Surtain to make him think it's run. Right, slow hesitation release, kind of acting like he's blocking. Let me go back actually. I want to show you all the footwork first. So Surtain, he's going to stay square, but watch his feet here. Feet are square. And then within his shuffle, he never crosses his feet. So as we watch this again, watch his footwork. Never crosses his feet. Stay square. And now I wanted you to pay attention to his eyes. His eyes are in perfect position. He's in a perfect position. He's not leaning too far forward. So the fundamentals of this are perfect. Another thing is he's got very long arms. And when he latches on, he's able to latch on for quite some time as well. But watch his eyes. Eyes are where they need to be. Then he goes from one hand to two to just steer Devontae Adams and control him. And then now just being in phase. And since it is a slow hesitation release, he's going to go from being on Devontae to now being on the bet to now his eyes being to the backfield because this is a flea flicker. Then goes to the backfield to back to Devontae. Stay in phase and really just box him out and push him to the sideline. Perfect pass breakup. His technique takes him to that 100th percentile, and it's in the 100th percentile. So here he is matched up in a trip set up against Garrett Wilson, and Garrett Wilson is going to be the point receiver right here in this trips formation. And what I love about this, of course, more than all, is Sertan's technique, his footwork, his patience, and just his overall discipline. So Garrett's going to be on a go route, and I'll let this play out first, and then we'll rewind it back. All right, so let's go back. So you saw Sertan's from this angle. I mean, it's kind of tough to see. He might be just even with Garrett, but it looks like he's slightly inside leverage. So then Garrett is going to work very hard to the outside. Now, and it's a quick release from Garrett Wilson, right? He's got a lot of twitch. He's a twitchy wide receiver. So watch Sertan's footwork here on this kick step. Because in order to match Garrett Wilson's verticality on this go route, you're going to have to use with Sertan's right foot this kick step to really get him to push him to the sideline. So watch his right foot. Kick step. He's got those long arms, so he gets that hand on his shoulder pad to push him to the sideline. And then overall, he's just pushing him to the sideline. Good job on the instincts here to get his head turned back. You hear that a lot is from defensive back coaches, just to get your head turned back because now he's his eyes are even with Garrett Wilson, but at this point, Garrett Wilson turns his eyes to the quarterback and watch Sertan do that as well. Turns his eyes, doesn't gets his hands inside Garrett Wilson's shoulders, doesn't get it outside. If you were to get that outside, that's going to be it has a chance to be a pass interference, right? Or get that kind of call. But then the ball concentration here to make that pick. I mean, this is why he's winning Defense Player of the Year. Those were a couple of reps in press man, and he does that very well. If I had to grade it out, it's definitely an A or A plus. But I think where he is just so good and dynamic that makes him an overall better corner is when he's in off man like this. So here he is to the bottom of the screen, and the coverage from Denver, it looks like man over here. But if you watch the eyes of these coverage defensive backs, it kind of looks like a little bit of zones, or they're matching, inside, routes outside. But watch Surtain here. He's going to have his eyes. I like what he does. First off, is of course he keeps himself square, his eye discipline, but he doesn't let the receiver close space. Because if a receiver's able to close space and on their break, if they're fast enough to get, if they're fast enough getting out of their break, they can really get a step on you. But he never lets them do that. And then as immediately he turns his eye when the receiver right here is going into their break or getting ready to break down, he turns his eyes from on them to now in the backfield. And this is what kind of tells me it's some kind of zone where he's matching anything breaking to the outside the numbers here and to the sideline. But his reactions, his overall IQ to make a pass breakup like that, have his teammate get a pick as well. That's what makes him an even better corner. He's very relaxed in his back pedal, and as a corner, if you can be relaxed in your back pedal, like it's going to take you a long way. And another thing that I mentioned is he doesn't let the wide receiver close space. So let's watch this how he defends this curl route up against Nico Collins. So there he is to the bottom of the screen here, very smooth in that back pedal, eyes where they need to be, disciplined. I mean, good pass breakup. So he's got those long arms to make the pass breakups. But now let's just analyze the little details into this film here. So watch his footwork and then just how he just looks relaxed, right? Looking at it, watching it, just looks very relaxed, doesn't feel any pressure. And then, like I say, he doesn't allow the receiver to close space. And then he stays disciplined into his leverage. He's outside leverage, knowing he potentially has help from the safety right here, and just how smooth he is. So then Collins starts on his break, and he understands that, like, okay, in football, especially passing wise, it's all timing. So he understands the timing concept of it, right? Where we started at, I can't remember exactly where the line of scrimmage was, but it's somewhere around here. Collins is at like 34-yard line, so it's gonna be something, right? He's gonna get into his route eventually, and then just make the pass break up. He has a PhD in just instincts and diagnosis. So we have a hitch route, about like I want to say like a 5-yard hitch route from Devontae Adams. Surtain to the bottom of the screen, outside leverage. Watch his eye discipline and then just how he's relaxed in his footwork as well. He's able to, with one foot, react, diagnose, plant that foot into the ground, and make a break on the ball, which is one thing I think he does really well, is just make breaks on the ball. So there's the full clip. Now let's go back and watch it. So there he is. He's got his eyes to the backfield right now. And like I say, he does such a good job in off coverage. And he's able to just like I say, diagnose, read and react. Then he turns his eyes, understanding the timing of these plays and these routes to Devontae Adams. He sees Devontae Adams get long in his stride, and Devontae's also got his right hand up, indicating it's going to be a break. So he sees that one foot in the ground, makes a play on the ball. And he knows it should have been a pick too, because he's got both hands on it. He kind of gets himself in trouble here, but it's just overall an incredible play, and I think just demonstrates his overall talent, which is he can put himself into some bad positions, but still make the play and just be great at it. So here he is to the top of the screen, good back pedal. So let's watch the play fully, then we'll break it down. Pass breakup. So let's go back. All right, so we see it was like a comeback or a hitch route from the receiver to the top of the screen, right? Surtain's in off coverage, smooth back pedal. He's reading, he's diagnosing. Then with that a little bit of a kick step or a transition step to really get him because he feels like the receiver's pushing vertical. So then he's going to turn his hips, turns the hips a little bit too early to go with the receiver right, but he understands I can push him to the sideline. So he gets his hips turned, receiver's able to work into his blind spot. And right here is where I want to just emphasize this picture right here because the ball is already being thrown by Mahomes right now. So it's good anticipation and timing from Mahomes. It looks like from this picture, the receiver is able to win or supposed to win. And look at where Surtain is. He has his hips really faced to the audience and the crowd, really, and to the sideline. He's not in a good position. He's having to really use the corner of his right eye to find the receiver because they get a little bit into a blind spot. But look at how he's able to recover. Recovers, makes a play on it. I mean, for this one, I don't need to say much other than just overall skill and discipline. I mean, it's a lot that the receiver runs on this route. I mean, he's gonna have a lot of breaks. Go from an out and up to what looks like a go, to a hitch route. So watch Surtain at the top of the screen as he defends this route. Discipline and technique will take you a long way. They put him in not so ideal position, but when you have a corner that's like Patrick Surtain, you can be able to do this. So he's outside leverage right here to the bottom of the screen. Same things I've been emphasizing the whole video. Watch his eyes, his just smoothest in that back pedal and his footwork here. Eyes, smoothest in that back pedal. Once the receiver breaks with that right foot, he's able to break. Now, look at all this green grass in this open space, right? Most corners would react very hard to this and want to get to a spot to get hip to hip with the wide receiver. Watch just how smooth he is in discipline. Smooth, disciplined, able to get in that sitting chair stance, speed turn back, just great overall footwork. This is a good rep by both parties right here on Sertan's end and Garrett Wilson's end. Garrett Wilson's got an inside slant. Patrick Surtain is inside leverage, so Garrett Wilson goes with a diamond release, 3 steps hard to the outside, want to work back inside. Wilson does get a step on him, but it's Surtain's long arms. And like right here, that long arm to make a punch on Garrett Wilson to really slow down the timing and his momentum forward. The punch there gets a little bit of a step, but I mean those long arms to make that pass deflection. I want to see if I can pause it at the right time for y'all. So there it is. You can see he's got a step, right? Garrett Wilson's got that step. Sertan is about, oh, it's hard to judge it from here, but I want to say maybe a yard, maybe even a half yard. And watch his with the long arms because that's right where the ball needs to be in Garrett Wilson's hip pocket, right in his stomach. And Sertan, even though being in a trail position, is able to make that PBU. Haven't shown too many clips kind of like this one, but I mean, this is just a perfect way to play his zone and to push the receiver far inside because it's a corner route from Devontae Smith. And usually, a lot of these offenses they'll do like corner route from the receiver with the inside release, but you don't want him to get too far pushed inside here because you still want that area and space for your quarterback to throw this corner, or you'll have a one of these receivers to the top of the screen over here will come underneath, so that way to have or the back to have Sertan have to play this flat pretty hard. But just great overall work by Sertan. So he's going to push him so far in. He's going to push him far inside because you got 5 yards. So get hip to hip with him, push him inside, work his leverage that so far that way from his starting point. Look at from his starting point to here. That's where he was, and then he understands no one is coming through on this flat, so I don't have to play it as hard. I can play it a little soft and get into this throwing lane right here, and he does it perfectly. After watching a lot of Sertan's tape, I've just come to the conclusion that You can't run a hitch or a curl route to his side, or if he's man to man off man coverage, really anywhere to his side, because he just locks it up every single time like he does here. And it goes back to what I said in the beginning of the video. He gains ground. So watch him gain ground, gain ground. Don't let them close space. And then when they do make their move, because of that time and anticipation that offenses work within, right? Make a react on it, and then the pass breakup. Like the long arms he has to make these pass breakups. I mean, it's just insane. So watch right here because the receiver gets good leverage and that ball's already thrown out. I want to say that's the ball right there. And the receiver gets the good positioning that they need for this kind of inside breaking route. But look at those long arms and just to make a play on that ball and fight it through. The active hands, everything he has, like this is why he's the best cornerback in the world. I had to save the best for last because this is just incredible. He lets Devontae get into his blind spot. The crossover technique he uses is flawless. And then, of course, with the footwork, and then while all of that, he's also looking into the backfield, understanding the timing and anticipation of it. This is just oh my gosh, unbelievable tape and film right here. So watch him to the top of the screen. Watch him. Okay, so he gets into a little bit of his back pedal. He still has his eyes to the backfield right here, not necessarily on Devontae. Now watch him get into this crossover technique right here. Crossover technique, still got his eyes on Devontae, still got his eyes on the backfield while still being not letting Devontae close any space or gain any ground. And Devontae gets into his blind spot. Gets into his blind spot, sees Derek Carr's about getting into his throwing motion. Sorry, the angle's far and it's a little bit blurry, so it's kind of hard to see. But once he sees that, he breaks down along with Devontae and look at the position that he's in. And the pass breakup, oh my God. Let's just watch it one more time without any pauses. Watches Devontae, watches the backfield crossover technique, breaks down when Devontae does. One more time, just one more time, because it's that good. What makes Patrick Surtain the best cornerback in the league is just of what we've talked about in this video. His overall just talent, instincts, skill, footwork. The technique is absolutely flawless. It is in the 100th to the 1000th percentile. He's always a step ahead of the receivers. The footwork, especially in his back pedal, he locks down true number one wide receivers. He takes down a certain portion of the field, just everything in every trait you could think of that you want for a cornerback, he has. And that's just why he's been the best cornerback in the league since he was a rookie. The reason why he's won Defensive Player of the Year, gotten all these kinds of nods and recognition, just because of all the skill and the hard work he's put into his talent. Uh, he's just an incredible corner.